Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Let's talk about mental health today. So, I'm going to give people a moment. I hope people on their lunch break. I'm on my break and just got through with some sessions, and I wanted to get on just for a moment and talk about some stuff. And one of the topics that I wanted to address today was people pleasing. So, let me put my glasses on to see who's popping up. Alrighty. Let's create a poll too about people pleasing. Do you suffer? Do you struggle with people pleasing? All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk about people pleasing today. And first of all, hello, viewer. So I'm going to give people a moment to get on. And I'm going to do some information today about some of the mental health challenges that we all face. There is common, and sometimes we don't even know that we're doing things. But what people pleasing is people pleasing is a person who consistently strives to please others, and a lot of times they're making their self the sacrifice, like they're pleasing others at their expense. So that means saying yes when you want to say no. Um, People pleasing also comes with self betrayal. It's saying yes to things when you want to say no, laughing at something and you don't really think it's funny. So people pleasing can come in a broad variety of different ways. Um, People pleasers are people that tend to do anything to avoid conflict. Like they don't like conflict, they don't like confrontation, and a lot of times they'll say things like they want to keep the peace, and keeping the peace for them, I mean, with others, many times mean that they're struggling or they're dealing with war inside their own spirit and within their own mind. So, also, people pleasers have a tendency to morph into things that they're not in order to please others. It's pretending to be something that you're not. It is pretending that you're happy with something when you're really not happy at all. So, people pleasing is self betrayal. We'll betray who we are to make somebody else happy. Thank you, Bree, for getting on. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Let people know that this is important. We address some of these things. A lot of times we don't even know that we have some of these conditions, and it's really a form of mental illness. But just like mental illness, we can be healed with different interventions. So, where does people pleasing come from? And people pleasing actually many times develop in our childhood. It comes from a place of wanting to feel safe. And wanting to feel safe means that if people aren't mad with me, then I'll feel safe. Or if I go along with the crowd, then I fit in. But fitting in looks very different from a sense from belonging. So over our childhood, we have this deep desire to feel safe by keeping other people happy with us. But the root of people pleasing is to control the narrative. Like people think that I'm agreeable, and people say, and like I tell people, nice is really not a compliment. Not being kind is, but sometimes being nice means that I'll say what I need to say, or I'll do what I need to do in order for people to accept me. So, people pleasing means that people pleasers don't want to have confrontation. They want to feel accepted, and that very basic human need is for us to feel safe. When we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food, clothing, and shelter are on that very bottom necessity. Like we need those in order to exist. But after that is safety. And people pleasing comes from a desire to feel safe. So what's the cure? Like, how do we cure people pleasing? First of all, you have to have an awareness. So the first thing is there must be an awareness that you must even recognize that it's going on. It's got to be an awareness that I even have, that I am people pleasing. And a lot of times when people come to my office, they love to say, I'm just a nice person and I want to help people, or I'm just super nice to people. And saying that sounds a whole lot easier than I don't have boundaries, or I don't love myself, or making someone else feel good is more important than making myself feel good. So the first step with working through people pleasing is recognizing that I am a people pleaser, that I do put the needs of others before I put my own needs. And I do say yes for that moment when I know that I should say no. Another thing about people pleasing and how do I cure it and how do I deal with my tendency to do people pleasing is that we have to work on creating boundaries. And when we think about the word boundary, I want you to think about boundary as you see that thing back there. It's got like a gold knob on it. It's shaped up like a rectangle. That's a boundary. It's also a door. And boundaries are like doors. And that means that I have to close the door to certain things in order for me to feel safe. And that means if I let someone in and they're not safe, they could steal things from me. They could steal my computer. They could steal my phone. But when we open up the door, we let people in and they do things like they steal our self-esteem, our sense of purpose. They make us afraid to share our gifts. So we not only have this responsibility to close the doors to our house to protect us, but we have to close doors and we have to set boundaries with people, especially people that we know come in and they are takers. They take our energy. They drain us. With people pleasing, there you've got to practice saying no. You've got to, and it's not going to feel good with your flesh. Everything in you is going to rise up, but practicing saying no. When someone asks you, practice saying no, especially if you know that it's something that you're not comfortable doing and it's going to inconvenience you. And the last point about the people pleasing is that we have to increase our self-love. I remember I asked this client once, what is self-love? And this was the best answer. This was years ago, but I saved her response and I'm going to share it with you. And when I asked her what self-love looks like, this is how she responded. She said, self-love looks like putting myself first. Not in a selfish way, but making sure that my needs are met. Saying no to those things that no longer serve me. Self-love is showing up for myself and making the best effort as far as exercise, eating right, and speaking well to myself. Cheering myself on, not beating myself up. Self-love is not criticizing myself when I make mistakes, but recognizing that I'm a human being. Self-love is saying no to fear and doing those things that are keeping me in bondage. If I wanted to start a t-shirt business, if I wanted to do something that people are like, you can't do that. Stepping outside. Self-love is having the challenge, making it okay to fail. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is a form of self-preservation. So I'm going to start getting on and talking about some mental health issues and challenges that I deal with in therapy. So if you have some questions, I want you to feel free. I'm going to be on for the next couple of minutes. Feel free if you've got a question or if you are dealing with that, hop on. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Christine. Hey, Bree. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate y'all for sharing this. I'm going to be more intentional about everybody don't feel comfortable coming to a therapy setting. Some people don't have the resources. Some people don't have the money to come to therapy. So it has been really laying on my heart to, hey, Christine, let me like all my messages. Hey, Tasha. Okay, Christine's on there again. Thank you, Bree. I'm going to, all right. So everybody don't feel comfortable coming to therapy. Everybody don't have the insurance or the resources. So I've made a commitment. It's been in my spirit, like, you can't just hoard this information. People need help. And one of the things is that in our community where we're from, like we're from Fort Hill, so in our community, we have this, like, we got this pact that we help each other. We we kind of like the ride or die. So for everybody is in my community on Facebook, and I don't accept all friend requests. So if you're in my community, I have handpicked you to have this. But I'm also thinking about creating a like a page that we do mental health stuff. And so if you got questions or you want me to talk about something, now I'm not on Facebook every day, but shoot it to me. Shoot it into my inbox and we can have a discussion. So people pleasing. We're going people the antidote to people pleasing is self-love. Thank y'all so much for jumping in. Thank you, Bree. I appreciate y'all for supporting me always, supporting my children, and you're right, more people need this, and that's why we got to get the word out. Like, we've got to, when we have information, we got to share that information. So wherever there is people pleasing and there's self-betrayal, because you got to betray your authentic self to please someone else, there will always be suffering. All right, thank y'all so much, and make today a great day.